How you doing, everybody? My name is Dr. Sammy BAYA. Please welcome back to my YouTube channel. Why narcissists overreact to your tone? Why narcissists overreact to your tone? Narcissists, by definition, are individuals who have an inflated sense of self-importance, a deep need for admiration, and a lack of empathy for others. Because of these characteristics, they are particularly sensitive to the emotions and behaviors of those around them. When it comes to communication, narcissists often overreact to the tone of others, especially when it challenges their sense of superiority or threatens their fragile ego. This reaction can sometimes feel disproportionate or out of place, and understanding why it occurs requires an exploration of narcissistic traits and the psychological mechanisms behind them. The first reason narcissists overreact to tone is their heightened sensitivity to perceived criticism. Narcissists see themselves as superior and flawless, so even the slightest hint that someone's tone indicates disapproval can feel like a major affront. They may interpret a neutral tone as hostile or critical because it threatens their grandiose self-image. Since narcissists constantly seek validation and admiration, anything that suggests they are less than perfect or fall short of expectations can trigger an exaggerated response. Secondly, narcissists struggle with insecurity, even though they often project confidence and self-assuredness. This insecurity stems from a deep fear of being seen as inferior or weak. They rely on external validation to feel good about themselves, and when someone's tone seems dismissive or condescending, it can evoke feelings of shame or inadequacy. Instead of processing these emotions in a healthy way, narcissists often deflect them by becoming defensive or lashing out, which may come across as an overreaction to something as seemingly minor tone. Another important factor is the narcissist's inability to empathize with others. Empathy is the ability to understand and share the feelings of others, but narcissists have a diminished capacity for it. As a result, they are less likely to understand why a certain tone is used, or they may misinterpret the emotions behind it. When someone speaks in a way they find confrontational or condescending, narcissists may react harshly, assuming the other person intends to hurt or attack them, even when this is not the case. Narcissists also tend to have an exaggerated sense of entitlement. They believe they are deserving of special treatment, and they can become irritable when things don't go their way. If they perceive a tone of disrespect or perceived slight, their entitlement can cause them to react with disproportionate anger or resentment. They may feel as though they are entitled to constant admiration and compliance, and anything less is seen as an injustice. This leads to intense overreactions whenever they feel even a hint of disrespect. Moreover, narcissists often engage in a pattern of projection where they project their own feelings and insecurities onto others. If a narcissist feels insecure or uncomfortable, they may interpret someone else's tone as an attack or insult, even if no such intent was present. This projection allows them to avoid confronting their own feelings of inadequacy by externalizing blame onto others. Therefore, even a neutral or polite tone can trigger an overreaction because the narcissist unconsciously believes the other person harbors the same negative emotions they feel within themselves. Furthermore, narcissists often view themselves as the center of attention in any situation, expecting others to cater to their emotional needs. If someone's tone doesn't reflect the adoration or admiration they expect, they can feel personally wounded. The narcissist may interpret a calm or even neutral tone as an indication that they are being ignored or undervalued, leading them to react with anger or defensiveness. They may become enraged because the attention is no longer solely on them, or they feel that their dominance in the conversation is being challenged. Narcissists tend to idealize themselves and others, but when they are faced with any perceived slight, this idealization quickly shifts into devaluation. This black and white thinking means that when someone's tone does not meet their expectations, it can feel like an all-out betrayal. They may catastrophize the situation, seeing a minor adjustment in tone as a sign of deep disrespect or rejection. In this mindset, the narcissist might react with exaggerated outrage as they cannot fathom the gray areas of communication. Another factor contributing to a narcissist's overreaction is their tendency to view the world through a lens of competition. Since they believe that the most important person in any interaction, if another person's tone suggests disinterest, indifference, or equality, it may feel like a challenge to their dominance. They interpret anything less than overt admiration as a challenge to their superiority. In such cases, their overreaction serves to reassert their sense of control and superiority over the situation and the people involved. Narcissists also have a fragile sense of self-worth, which is often easily threatened by even the smallest triggers. Their overreactions to tone are often a defense mechanism to protect this fragile self-esteem. When someone speaks to them in a way they perceive as condescending or dismissive, it threatens their self-image, leading them to react disproportionately. They may feel that their worth is being questioned or attacked, and they respond by becoming hostile or aggressive to regain a sense of control and self-assurance. Additionally, narcissists often lack the emotional maturity to process their feelings in a healthy way. They have learned to cope with emotional discomfort by lashing out, blaming others, or manipulating the situation to suit their needs. When someone's tone triggers these unresolved emotional issues, the narcissist may react with an outburst, even if the tone was not intended to cause harm. Their inability to regulate the emotions leads to overreactions, which are often disproportionate to the situation at hand. In relationships, narcissists can be particularly sensitive to tone because they view their partners or close associates as extensions of themselves. Any criticism, even if it is simply conveyed through tone, can feel like an attack on their identity. Since narcissists rely on others to reinforce their self-esteem, any perceived threat to that validation can provoke an overreaction. Their response may involve guilt-tripping, manipulation, or even aggression as a way to restore the power dynamic in their favor. Another element that fuels narcissists' overreactions to tone is their constant need to control the narrative. They want to be the one to set the terms of any interaction, and when they feel that someone's tone challenges their control, it can be seen as a violation of their authority. Narcissists may react by becoming defensive, domineering, or even aggressive, seeking to regain control of the situation. This need to control is rooted in their fear of vulnerability and loss of power, both of which can feel threatening to their carefully curated self-image. Narcissists also often engage in all or nothing thinking. If they perceive someone's tone as even slightly negative, they may jump to the conclusion that the person no longer values them or has ill intentions. This extreme perspective prevents them from recognizing nuance or understanding that tone can be neutral or even misinterpreted. As a result, they react impulsively and intensely, unable to assess the situation in a balanced way. The result is an overreaction that exacerbates the conflict and perpetuates their feelings of betrayal or hurt. In summary, narcissists overreact to tone because of a combination of factors rooted in their inflated self-image, security, lack of empathy, and emotional immaturity. Their sensitivity to perceived criticism, need for admiration, and tendency to project their own insecurities onto others make them particularly vulnerable to any form of communication that challenges their ego. Whether it is a slight change in tone, a neutral comment, or a polite suggestion, narcissists will often react disproportionately, driven by their need to maintain control, to assert their superiority, and defend their fragile sense of self-worth. Understanding these dynamics can help individuals navigate interactions with narcissists more effectively, recognizing that their overreactions are not always based on the reality of the situation, but on their distorted perception of it. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you've learned a thing or two. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel if you've not done so.